Hi and welcome to this video. This is a recap of yesterday's class. So all you need for this class is going to be the mat and 2 little weights, and if you use a towel or a prop under your head, then that too. That's all the equipment that we're going to need for this workout. So go ahead and grab all of your stuff and let's get started. Now we're going to start standing up and we're just going to start breathing. We're going to breathe in through the nose and out through pursed lips. Every time you inhale, you want to think about expanding that rib cage towards the back and the sides and bring the air to that lower part of the lungs. And every time we exhale, we want to bring all of the air out of the lungs. Feel that rib cage closing in and down. And feel that small contraction of the pelvic floor and the transverse abdominis, those 2 stabilizer muscles that are going to help you throughout the workouts. Let's keep breathing here. Good. Let's do one more. And let's start mobilizing the scapula and the shoulders. So first, we want to find a neutral position for our shoulder blades. So we're going to start doing a little bit of elevation and depression. We want to elevate the shoulders and bring them up as far as they can go, and depress them as low as they can go. Inhale as they come up, and exhale as they go down. Try and feel the movement on your shoulder blades. So it's more than the shoulders, it's the shoulder blades that we need to feel them moving up and down on our back. One last time. And let's find the middle point in between those 2, which is the neutral position from there. And we're going to go ahead and bring the arms right in front of us. We're going to pretend we're holding a box right there. And we're going to go into protraction and retraction. I'm going to turn around so you can see better from there. So we're going to protract and bring the shoulder blades apart from each other, and retract and bring them closer to each other. So we're keeping the elbows straight all the time, just going into this protraction and retraction. Exhale as you protract, and inhale as you retract. Let's do 2 more here. And let's find that middle point in between those 2. That is going to be our neutral position. Now from here we want to go into arm scissors. So inhale here and exhale as you bring one arm up overhead and the other one by the hip. And inhale back to center and exhale to switch. And we're going to keep going from one side to the other. As you do this movement, make sure the ribcage is not flaring up when you bring that one arm up. You don't want that ribcage to flare away, so engage those abdominals, keep the ribcage down. Let's do 2 more here. And bring it back to center and release those arms down. Now, we want to bring the hands and place them on top of the shoulders. We're going to open the elbows to the sides, and we're just going to start doing circles. First, small circles with the elbows, as if we are trying to draw a circle with those elbows right there. And slowly we're going to try and do those circles bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you can meet the elbows right there at the front, go ahead and do that. And we're going to bring the circles in the opposite direction. Don't forget to keep breathing here. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And slowly we're going to start doing those circles a little bit smaller and smaller until we reach the elbows right by the sides again. And we can stop right there and release those hands down. Good. Hopefully we're warming up through the shoulders. We're going to be doing quite a bit of arm work today, so that's important to be warm up. Let's start with some squats here. Let's work a little bit through the legs. So I want you to be standing with the legs parallel, hip distance apart. I'm going to turn around so you can see better from there. And from here, we're just going to do the normal squats. So think about sending your sit bones back and down as you sit down and come back up. Inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. Important thing here is try and keep those knees on top of the ankles. They might slide slightly forward, that it's okay. Let's make sure that they don't go more forward than the feet, than the toes. Hinging at the hip. So make sure you're keeping that back straight and you just hinge at the hip as you go down. You can move the arms to the front and to the back to help you to come up. Let's go for another 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, we're going to hold down there. Keep holding for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, just do little pulses here for another 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, and press all the way up. Good. From here, we're going to go into those second position squats. So we want to open the legs quite wider than hip distance apart. We want to bring the weight towards the toes, and then we're going to rotate the legs. So we're rotating from the femur, from that thigh bone towards the outside, that lateral rotation. So we want to make sure the knees, when we flex them, they're going to be pointing towards the side. Now that we're here, let's get started. So we go down and we come up. The upper body is going to stay straight. Now we're not hinging as we go down, we're staying up. Good. Inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. And check on those knees, make sure they're tracking right on top of your feet as you go down. You can again move the arms to help you come up. Let's go for another 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, let's hold it down there. Make sure those knees are in the right position. And let's start pulsing for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, press it all the way up. And we're going to release those legs from there. Let's do one more exercise standing here, and then we can go down. So we're going to mobilize through the heels a little bit to activate all the muscles that work around our ankles. So standing, legs hip distance apart. Again, I'm going to turn, and from here we're just going to go with the heels up and all the way down. So we're just lifting from the heels and bringing it down. We want to try and articulate our foot as much as we can, lifting first the heel and then the rest of the feet and bringing them down. Exhale as you come up and inhale as you go down. Good. Make sure your body is staying in a straight line. You're not hinging the body forward or to any of the sides. We're just staying on a straight line, going up and coming back down. Let's go for another 4 and 3 and 2. Last one, let's hold it up. As we are there, try and be aware and make sure that you're distributing the weight between both legs evenly. And on each foot, make sure you're using the whole foot to distribute the weight. And let's go into running. So one heel goes down, the opposite knee bends, and come back up and switch. And up and switch. So we keep switching from one leg to the other. The important thing is to always come back up to both of the heels high, and then we switch. Up and switch. Let's go for another 4. And 3. And 2. Last 1. Bring both of the heels high. Hold for 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. Last one. Bring those heels down. And hopefully we are feeling warm through those legs. Let's go into a little bit of a stretch for those legs. So we're going to go down in a roll down. So again, standing with the legs hip distance apart. We're going to start with that little bit of a head nod as we inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to roll down one vertebra at a time, all the way down as far as you can go. Once you reach the lowest point, if you want, you can bend your knees slightly and feel the stretch on the back side of the legs and on the spine. Take an inhale down there and exhale as you come all the way back up. Okay, let's do this 2 more times. Try and go as slow as possible, articulating that spine. And the head is the last thing to come up. Let's do 1 more here. Inhale down there. And exhale as you start coming up. Using those abdominals to help you come all the way up until the head reaches up as well. Good, great. Now, stay there with the legs hip distance apart. Just bring your arms right in front of you and we're going to open them slightly to the sides. We're going to go into a spine twist. What we want to make sure here is the hip bones, they're going to stay pointing forward. We're not going to rotate from the hips, we're just going to rotate the upper body. So take an inhale right here. And as you exhale, we rotate towards the right side. We go with our head as far as we can go with our chest as well. Inhale to come back to center and exhale as we rotate towards the other side. Inhale back to center and exhale to the other side. The arms are obviously going to be able to rotate a lot more than the upper body, but that's fine. Let the arm go, but keep your head on top of your chest. And back to center. And let's do 2 more here. And back to center. Last one. And back to center, and we can release those hands down. Good. We're going to go down towards the mat. For now, we are not going to need any props. We're just going to go into a 4-point kneeling position. So we want to have the hands right under the shoulders and the knees right under the hips. The legs are going to be hip distance apart. And we want to make sure when you place the hands down on the mat that you start from the outer parts of the hand, you put it down and then you release slowly the rest of the hand so we don't put a lot of pressure on that thumb because that can make our wrist hurt. Once we're there, play around a little bit with your shoulder blades, find that neutral position on the shoulder blades and the same thing on your pelvis. And let's start shifting the weight back and forward, all the way back and all the way forward. And let's try and stop in the midpoint where the weight distribution is even between the hands and the knees. Once we're there, we're going to take an inhale right here. And as we exhale, we're going to go into a cat stretch. Start curling your spine from tail to head. Inhale to come back to that neutral position. and exhale as we roll through the spine, one vertebra at a time. And let's go back to that neutral. Let's do this 2 more times. Exhale as we go, and inhale as we come back to that neutral. And back to neutral. Let's stay in that neutral position. We're going to go into swimming reps, so make sure you're pushing through those hands away from the floor. Make sure your elbows are not locked out. So if you lock your elbows, the crease of your elbow is going to be pointing towards the front of the mat. We don't want to do that. We want the crease of the elbow pointing towards the inside. Once we are there, we're going to start taking an inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to go with left arm away and right leg. Think about bringing them away and slightly up. And inhale as they come back in. And exhale as they go away. And inhale back in. We're going to stay with that left arm and right leg right there. Moving away. We don't want to think about bringing them super high, but we want to think about bringing them away from us. They're reaching away from each other. Those fingers, those toes. Think about your pelvis. Make sure you're not shifting, rotating. Let's do 2 more here. And bring it in and release it down. We're going to go with the other hand and the other leg. Take an inhale. As we exhale, they go away and slightly up. Good. Inhale every time you come back in, and exhale as they go away. And don't forget about your shoulder blades. Make sure you're not sinking on your shoulders. Make sure you're still pushing away from the floor. Let's do 2 more here. And bring it in and release it down. We're going to go for 1 more exercise right here. Let's bring the knees together now. The hands are going to stay under the shoulders, so shoulder distance apart. I want you to tuck your toes under. And as you inhale, you're going to exhale and bring those knees up. Inhale as they come down. Exhale as you lift those knees up. And inhale as they come back down to the floor. The knees are just lifting a couple of centimeters. They're not going super high. We want to make sure that we're keeping the same position in our spine. We're not losing that neutral. So don't lift those knees too high. Let's do 1 more here. And on the next one, we're going to bring the knees and we're going to keep them high. Once we're there, we're going to go into slight rotation. So take an inhale right there, and as you exhale, you rotate the knees to one side, and inhale back to center, and exhale as you rotate towards the other side, and inhale back to center. Let's do 2 more here. Last one. Bring them back to center and release those knees down. And we're going to go into a shell stretch. So open your legs slightly and we're going to sit on our heels. We want to be doing an active stretch of that spine. So we're not going to release those abdominals on top of the legs. We don't want to go all the way down to the mat. We want to generate that C curve on the spine to help us stretch that spine. Let's take 1 more breath here. And as we exhale, let's sit back upright. Okay, We are ready to go all the way down to the mat. So we're going to be lying down on our back. If you need to use a prop under your head, like a towel or something like that, go ahead and place it right down there. And have your weights near you, because we're going to be using them shortly. So first, we want to lie down on the mat, keep your feet on the mat, your knees bent, and right there we want to find neutral through that pelvis. So you can rock your pelvis back and forth a couple of times until you find that neutral position, that midpoint in which the hip bones and the pubic bone are in the same line, parallel to the floor. We have a little gap under the lower back. That will be our neutral pelvis. And once we're here, I'm going to ask you to extend those legs down the mat, but keeping that neutral pelvis. Now from here, we're going to take an inhale and bring the arms all the way up overhead. As we do that, make sure your ribcage is not flaring up, so make sure those abdominals are engaged. Exhale there. And we're going to go into roll-ups. So inhale and bring the arms up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, we're going to roll all the way up, one vertebra at a time, until we come up and we flex up and over the legs. Take an inhale here, and exhale as we start rolling away again. Slow, controlling the movement, trying to do one vertebra at a time as we roll down and bring the arms up overhead. Let's go again. Inhale with the arms up and exhale as we roll all the way up, coming over the legs. Don't fall down on top of the legs. You want to keep that curve on our spine. You want to point your heels away from you and start rolling away. Pointing the heels is going to activate posterior chain of your body, which is going to help you control the movement down. Inhale as the arms come up, and exhale to roll up. Slowly controlling the movement. Take an inhale there, and exhale as we roll all the way down. Bring the arms overhead. Let's do two more here. Come all the way up. Stay parallel to the floor with those arms. And go all the way back down. Good. Last one. Inhale as you bring the arms up, and exhale to roll up. Inhale up there, and exhale as we roll away again, all the way down towards the mat, bringing the arms up overhead. Good. Now, let's bring the feet towards the mat. So let's bend those knees and have the feet on the mat. Make sure you're in that neutral pelvis right there, and have the weights near your hands, one on each hand. We are going to go into a mid-back series, so we're going to do a little bit of arm workout. But first, we want to put the legs on a tabletop position. So we're going to go first on an imprint of that pelvis. So think about bringing those hip bones up towards the rib cage. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, go into that imprint. And once you find that imprint position, bring one leg up to tabletop and the second leg up to tabletop. You can keep the legs up there if you can for the whole exercise. If you're feeling tired, you can bring them down, reset your imprints and go again. That's not a problem. And if you want as well, we can go through the head nose and come up on that upper body, go into that flexion. And again, you can stay here for the whole exercise or until I tell you to go down. Or if you feel tired, you can always go down and reset and start again. Having the weights in each hand by the hips. Now from here, we're going to take an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to open towards the sides. And inhale as we close. Keep those elbows straight. go for 4 more. And 3. And 2. Last one. Bring the hands by the hips. And from here, we're going to go into that 45 degrees. So open towards the sides and up, like making a V shape. And close again back by the hips. Exhale as you open up. And inhale as you come back down. Keeping those elbows straight. Your gaze should be somewhere around your knees. Let's do 3 more here. And 2. Last one. Bring it by the hips. From here, we're going to go down with that upper body. We're going to keep those legs on tabletop. And we're going to bring the arms right up towards the ceiling and straight down by the hips. Straight up and straight down. Exhale as they come up. And inhale as they go down. If you're feeling tired, you can always bring those legs down or reset and bring them back up again. Let's do 2 more here. Last one. Bring those hands by the hips again, keeping those elbows away from the floor. We're just going to go into triceps. Extend those elbows and bend those elbows. Make sure your elbows are not touching on the floor. Let's go for 2 more. And keep those hands extended by your sides. And bring one leg down to the floor and then the other leg down. And you can release those weights right there. We're going to leave them on the side for a little while. We're going to use them again later. And we want to remove the prop from under the head now. We're going to go into hip rolls. So we need to have our head on the ground. Bring your feet slightly closer towards your sit bones. We're going to first find that neutral pelvis again. Once you're there, we're going to take an inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to start rolling the pelvis into that imprint and then keep pushing that pelvis up all the way. Take an inhale up here and exhale as you roll all the way down, back into that neutral pelvis. Let's do that again. As we go up and down, we want to articulate that spine, one vertebra at a time. Try and control the movement, go slow. Think about your knees. Think about bringing them or sending them to go over your feet. They're not going to reach that place, but that's what we want to feel. We want to feel the legs stretching in one direction and the upper body stretching on the other direction to help us go into that high position and roll all the way back down. Make sure you're keeping your legs in that parallel as you come up and as you go down. Let's go for 2 more here. Good. And on the next one, we're going to bring those hips high and we're going to stay up there. Take an inhale here. And we're going to start going into that hinge at the hip. So keeping that spine in that neutral position. We're just going to go down and up with the hips. So bring your hips down all the way to the mat and bring them up. Inhale as they go down and exhale as they come up. Make sure you're keeping those legs in that parallel position as you go up and down. Pressing through those heels. If you start feeling it in your lower back, you need to activate more through that posterior chain, so make sure you're pressing through those heels. Let's go for 4, and 3, and 2. Last one, keep those hips high. Take an inhale up there. And as you exhale, we're going to roll the spine again, one vertebra at a time, all the way down towards the mat until we find that neutral position again. Once we're here, you can bring your knees towards your chest, hug your legs there. Release a little bit through that lower back. And once you're down there, we're just going to come up slowly. And we want to turn, and we're going to be lying down on the mat in that front position, so with the belly down. Now we're going to start doing a backstroke prep. So first, we want to have the hands somewhere around the shoulders, but a little bit wider than the mat. But make sure they're not super high, so they're at shoulder height, but wider, slightly wider than the mat. Okay. We want to make sure we're activating through those abdominals. So engage those abdominals. Make sure your hip bones are not touching on the mat. That's how we can find out if we are activating through those abdominals or not. Make sure you're pulling from those abdominals and the hip bones are not touching on the mat. And your nose is the closest thing from your head that is closest to the mat. Now from here we want to take an inhale and slightly move the head up, and as we exhale we're going to go into that extension of the upper body. We're not using the hands to push us up, the hands are there just for support, but we're just coming high as far as we can go with our back. Inhale up there and exhale to roll all the way back down. Inhale as we move the head up, and exhale as we go into that upper spine extension. It's a thoracic extension only. Inhale up there and exhale to release down. Inhale and exhale as you go up into that extension. And exhale as you release all the way down. Exhale as you come up. Take an inhale there. And exhale as you release again back down to the mat. Let's do that one more time. Inhale as you move that head up. And exhale as we go into that extension. Inhale up there. And exhale all the way back down. Now we're going to change the position for our legs. We want to go into that lateral rotation of the legs. So we want to make sure we're turning from that thigh bone towards the outside. That is going to allow us to go into a deeper extension. Keep the hands by the shoulders. And we're going to do the same movements, but we're going to go into a higher extension. You can use your hands slightly to help you come up. So inhale as the head moves forward, and exhale as you go all the way up into that swan dive position. And inhale all the way back down. Exhale as you come up. And inhale as you go all the way back down. Make sure your gaze is following your movements. So your gaze should be going up as you come up and slightly going down all the way to the mat as you come down. Make sure you're using your back muscles and it's not just your arms pushing you up. Your arms, your hands can be helping you, but the main thing is to use those back muscles to help you go into that extension. Let's do one more here. And release it all the way down. And let's go again into that shell stretch. So sit on your heels. Let's counterbalance that movement. So we're going into full extension. Now we're going to go into that full flexion of the spine. Feel the lengthening through the spine. Good. And let's sit back upright. Good. Now, from here, we're going to go back into that standing position. And we're going to be standing by one of the ends of the mat. We're going to go into push-ups here. So, once you reach the floor, if you want, you can stay in that full push-up position to go into the actual push-up movements. If you want, you can bring your knees down towards the mat and do the push-ups only from that half push-up position, okay? So, let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to start rolling down one letter at a time until we reach the floor. Then we're going to do 4 steps with our hands going all the way forward into that push-up position. Right here, if you want, you can bring your knees down towards the mat. If you want, you can stay up here. And let's go for 3 push-ups here. Inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. 2 and 3. Let's go back those 4 steps with the hands. And slowly let's start rolling all the way back up into that standing. Inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to start rolling down all the way down to the mat. 4 steps to get into that push-up position. Let's go for 1 and 3. Let's come back up in those 4 steps. And let's roll the spine all the way back up. 1 letter at a time. Let's do that one last time. Let's roll down. Once we get there, let's do those 4 steps. Find that push-up position. And let's go down and up. Inhale and exhale. Come back up to that standing and slowly start rolling up 1 letter at a time all the way up, and the head is the last thing to come up. Good. Now from here, let's go back down, sitting on the mat. Let's do a little bit of stretch before we finish up here. So we're going to bring the arms again right in front of us. Open them slightly wider. We're going to go into that spine rotation. So take an inhale right here. As we exhale, we're going to rotate the arm. We're going to rotate towards the right. So the right arm is going to bend. We're going to think about sending that elbow far away from us behind, while the left hand is pulling towards the front. Inhale back to center. And exhale, we go to the other side. So we want to think about that movement of opposition between the hand and the opposite elbow. And as we rotate, make sure you're only rotating. Okay, let's do 2 more here. And back to center, last one. And come back to center and release the right. So we can stretch here. Take an inhale as you bring the right arm up, and exhale as you flex up and over. Think about creating a C shape with that left side of your body, and feel the lengthening, the stretching on the right side of the body. Inhale as you come back to center, and exhale to release. Inhale with the left arm up, And exhale as you flex up and over. Inhale back to center. And exhale to release. And let's do this one more time. Inhale with the right arm up. And exhale to flex. Inhale back to center. And exhale to release. Last one. Flex up and over. Inhale to come back and exhale to release, and we are done for today. I hope you have enjoyed the class. If you have any comments or any questions, you can go ahead and send me a message, and I will be seeing you on the next one.